in coming time, not only for the regulated market but also for the domestic market or the ROW market, because since all the agencies, the people who are working in the agencies, they are coming, they becoming aware from day by day, and all those what you call the regulations that has been done in the regulated market, people are accepting those regulations because since we are working for the drug product and it is meant for your patients, and it is directly linked with your health, your safety, your efficacy. So day by day or coming time, QBD will be implied in the industry, and that is why it is necessary that proactively you need to study QBD, what is QBD, and how we can apply it, and what are its benefits. Now, talking about the introduction of QBD, the pharma industry is constantly searching the ways to ensure and enhance product safety, quality, and efficacy. So, pharma industry is a dynamic process in which the industry people, they are working with time in what way they can increase the safety, quality, and efficacy of a drug product. So, quality by design is a systematic approach to development that begins with predefined objectives and emphasizes product and process understanding and process control based on sound science and quality risk management. So basically, what is a QBD? It is a systematic approach in which we develop with our predefined goals, and on those goals and based on our risk assessment and our prior knowledge, we produce a product which is safe, which is best in terms of your safety, quality, and efficacy. So if you see in this picture also, earlier what used to happen is people used to manufacture a product and the quality they used to see by testing. For example, today you have manufactured a tablet, whatever the process may be, you will only see the quality in terms of testing. For example, you are preparing a tablet, you are doing the blending operations, you are doing the manufacturing process, you are doing the film coating process, but ultimately you don't know what is there in between. You will only see the quality when you will be testing it, right? And this is also the cases of, in terms of, you see the ROW market or the domestic market. So this is the trend which is going. So that is not quality by design, that is quality by testing. You are testing the product and then you are saying that yes, my product is within the specifications, it has a proper SA values, it has proper RS values. But what happens is, if any case you don't have the control on your process, sometimes you will achieve 100% SA, sometimes you will achieve 95% SA, sometimes you will achieve 92% SA, and you have set your specifications of SA, that is 92,110, 92,110, although it is within the specifications. But if you see the variance, it is not specified. One time it is coming 92%, so you are very lucky, you got 2% extra and you are within the specifications. Sometimes you are getting 95%, and sometimes if your luck is very good, you will get 100% SA. So it is the quality based on the testing. But sometimes what happens, in case whenever there is a SA value of 89%, which is below your specifications, which you have kept 92,110, then you will start thinking that what happened, and that time consuming process in investigating those process, you will investigate each and every process, what happened in that process. So that is time consuming, and also you are not able to identify what happened, what is the cause, that why the SA values came down. So that is why the existence of quality by design came into place. If you see in this picture itself, if you see the cost and the time, initially when you have a concept in your mind, for example, any marketing people have told you that you have to prepare this kind of drug product, and then the cost of that concept is very less. We call it as a rule of tens, and then the design will come, in which you will think about how my target will be, what will be my critical quality attributes, I mean what specification would I keep, what will be the my control process, and which process I have to think that it is very critical process, right? So that design, that will be your designing part, in which you will, there will be some cost, but it will be significantly very less. And then your testing, and then production, and then to the consumers. So what happens if the consumer, or during production time, in which you have in the cycle you have spent a lot of money, and then in the production you get some issues with your product. So what happens? The cost bearing of that issue will be very high compared to your design. So that is why we call it quality by design. You have to design your product such that your testing or your production does not have any variance or does not have any issues. So you will devote your time in your designing. If your designing is good, you have all the controls with you, then even in the testing the product will not fail, because you have already designed in such a way that there are very less chances, or I can say there are 99.99% chances that your product will pass in production process, or even when it goes to customers. So the quality by design is, in order to initiate a successful QBD program, the first step is to identify those process parameters that are essential to product quality and develop well validated analytical method to monitor those parameters. So basically, what is the requirement of QBD? First of all, you need to identify those processes which are essential to your product quality. And secondly, your testing. Whenever you are designing a product, you need to do some kind of small testing, so that analytical testing should be validated or should be cross-checked. Because if your designing is good, and your testing which you are doing side by side, prototype on your design, you are testing your product on prototypes. If your testing is not cross-checked or it is not validated, then the result will come a different way. So these are two important things. First of all, your what are your critical process which will affect your quality, and then your method which you are using to cross-check your product. So am I clear on this? What is QBD? Introduction. Okay. Coming to the next slide. Now, quality is kind of an iceberg. If you have an issue in a product, you will see only 15 or 20% of the issue on the outside. But what are the hidden things? For example, if any issue comes from the market, so what you will do? It will be in warranty or it will be guarantee. So you have to give the product again. You have to escalate those issues. But the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, when you see inside the iceberg, there are so many things that you have to do. Either you have to scrap your product. For example, you manufactured 1 lakh tablets, and then getting to the customers, we found some issues. Then you have to all scrap your tablets first of all. Then you have to do your investigation. Then rejection will be there. So and finally you will fail your confidence from your customers, because if I'm giving a bad product to my customers, the customer will not take the product again from me. So that is why the quality should be on target. If you see the second image, as per the customer, if you are a customer, your target will be always 100%. Okay, but in some cases what happens, if you have specified some limit, for example lower limit and upper limit, the traditional perspective of looking at the quality, they only see whether it is in the specifications or not. If it is luckily in the specifications, you get away. If it's slightly out of the specifications, then you will lose your customers. So that is why your target will be on the green line. And minimum variance means all the products which are there should be lying on this line. It should not be either this side, nor it should be either this side, because customer expectation is what you are telling them. They don't over expect, they only expect that whatever you are telling, you should be achieving that. So whenever this variation is minimal, all your product is on the green line, then you have a good quality and you have a confidence on your customers. So that is why you have to design your quality, and then you will see the results when it will go to the customers. Now, what are the key characteristics of QBD? A tool for focused and efficient drug development, because it is a kind of tool and it is also already efficient for developing a drug product. It is dynamic and systematic process. It will change with time, because today the regulatory agencies are asking for some test. Maybe there may be more stringent tests which will be coming, so you have to adopt that situation. It is a systematic process in which you will develop your product in a proper systematic manner. It is not like that you have developed a product and you are going straight forward and you giving to the customers. The quality should be built and each and every step should be analyzed and should have a control, that every process you are having a control in it. Relies on the concept that quality can be built in as a continuum. So quality should be built in your product. Quality should not be tested, it should be built even though you are not testing it, but it is required. I am not saying that testing is required, but you have a full confidence that when you have gone through this process, then your quality by testing or the testing that you will perform, it will give you fruitful result. It is applicable for both drug product as well as drug substance. So quality is not constricted to your drug product. It is also constricted to your, it can be applied to your drug substance. For example, if you are doing some chemical reactions, so how you will control your chemical reactions, what controls you will put, how better you have designed your synthetic process. So it is applicable for your drug product as well, it is applicable for your drug substance. And also nowadays the excipients, the inactive ingredients, the people which are from the pharmaceutical background, this what we call, they are the vendors, they are also following QBD. What, for what purpose? For they want to generate a confidence from their customers. If they say, sir, we have this excipient and we have manufactured by using QBD, then you can surely say that yes, the quality will be constant and it will not fluctuate. For example, one excipient you are taking today, the particle size is XYZ. If they are not following quality by design, the next lot that you are preparing from them, the values can change. So as a formulator point of view, you will not ask them that you will not require this kind of variations. You want a particular excipient and you should have this kind of specifications, and that specification should be, there should be no variance. So that is why it is required and it is being followed for your drug product as well as your drug substance. It is applicable to analytical methods also. Whenever we are doing the analytical methods, nowadays some companies are also applying QBD in their analytical methods. It can be implemented partially or totally. It is not as such. I mean, if you talk about the softwares which you must have heard about, these design of experiment or some MATLAB softwares are there. So it is either you can use it or you cannot use it. It is not mandatory that you need to apply QBD as a whole. Either it can be implemented partially or it can be implemented for a total product. Can be used at any time in life cycle of the drug. It can be used anytime. Whenever, for example, you are using a conventional process, whenever the product is in the market, but now you think that I need to get a better customer satisfaction, I need to apply QBD in my current products, you can do that. The regulatory will not ask question, and it is always been encouraged by the regulators. So why the regulators are always encouraging you? Because you have designed and you have implemented your QBD, and it will be very easy for the regulators to review your product. I mean, on what basis you told that this process is very critical, what are my my QTPP, that we will talk in the later slides. So these are the key characteristics of QBD. Benefits of QBD: it will eliminate batch failures. As I already told, the variance between different batches will not be there and you will get a consistent product with you. It will minimize deviations and costly investigations, and I already told you that the deviations will be minimized, and the investigation, for example, any product which has failed, you have to do investigation, otherwise the regulatory will they will catch hold you. So what is there? it will reduce your cost of investigation. Avoid regulatory compliance problems. So if you are applying your QBD in a proper way, the regulator will not ask too much questions because you have submitted your data in a systemic manner. So it will be very easily, they will easily review those dossiers or the documents that you have submitted. Empowerment of technical staff. Now this is very important. If you are sound in QBD, if you are sound in your process, it will enhance your technical skills also. It is efficient, agile and flexible system. Increase manufacturing efficiency, reduce cost and project rejection and waste. Build scientific knowledge base for all products. Better interact with industry on science issues. Ensure consistent information. Incorporate risk management. So risk management you will be incorporating. Whenever you are doing QBD, you have to initially find out what are the risks. So in this way, you have to identify those risks and you have to manage those risks by doing. I will share you in the next slides. Reduce end product testing. It will reduce your end product testing. Speed up your release decision. It will have to speed up your process or your release process. Now when we call about the framework, what is in this slide I have just captured, what are the steps which we follow for the QBD, and in the coming slide we will discuss each and every part in detail, but just to have you on a same picture and on the same page, first of all we have to apply QTPP. QTPP is you have to identify what are your targets which you need to fulfill. If you already have your target that these are my targets, so you will work as per your targets. For example, I want to go to buy a mobile phone, and I already have decided that I need to have 5G in my mobile, I need to have a fingerprint scanner in my mobile, I need to have a very good camera, right? I need to have a very good battery backup, the charging speed should be very high, it should be fast charging. So this is my target. So if I have my target in my mind, what I will go to the shop, I will only see those things as per my targets. I will not deviate from my target. So even in this case, when you are talking about the product, if you are talking about a tablet which is immediate release, which releases very fast drug, you will say that my release should be more than 90%. You will say that my disintegration time, if I'm talking about my disintegration time for a film coated tablet, it should be less than 30 minutes. The assay values that I should have, it should be 90 to 110. Why? The impurity levels should be with as per the ICH. So these are my targets. These targets you need to define first of all, and then based on your QTPPs you have to see the CQAs. What are the critical quality attributes? Now the critical quality attributes, what we mean to say is all those parameters which will affect your quality, safety and efficacy. I repeatedly talk about quality, safety, efficacy, but that is the base of any good formulation. So you need to see that what are your critical quality attributes. Critical quality attributes means what are the specifications that you need in your drug product. For example, assay values, your impurity level values, your microbiological limits. So these are my critical quality attributes. Whatever the attributes which are critical to my quality, these are called critical quality attributes. And then your CPP. CPP means what are your critical process parameters. Whenever you are working for granulation, for example, you are doing wet granulation. So whenever you are doing granulation, what are the critical process in that granulation? What are the, for example, you are working for direct compression. What is the critical process of direct compression? Now you will say that the critical process of direct compression will be your machine speed, you can say, or you can say blending, how efficiently you are doing the blending process. So these will be your critical process parameters. I will discuss each and every part in detail with examples. Now based on your critical process parameters, you need to define a design space based on your prior experience. whatever you had with your previous products, and based on your CQS, based on your CPPs, you will produce a design space. For example, I want to say that I want to do blending. For example, I do blending. Blending generally we do from 10 to 15 minutes. So that 10 to 15 minutes is my design space in which I will perform my experiments. And based on the results, I will finally do my control strategy. For example, I have evaluated 10 to 15 minutes blending time. But based on the data, in blend, what we get the data blend assay. What is the potency of that blend? If I take 1 gram of blend or sufficient quantity of blend as per my dosage form, how much API it has? So that is called blend assay. And when you take blend from a blender, for example, the blend you have in a blender, in a container, and you take different locations of small sample of your blend, and you see the potency of that particular as per your dosage form, that is called blend uniformity. I mean, if in a blend, if you take 10 locations, specified locations in a blender, and you take the blend from it and you check the potency, then you will call it as a blend uniformity. When you take a sample, composite sample, I mean you take the 10 samples and you mix it and then you take it, composite sample you're talking about blend assay. So which blending time in which I had a better blend assay, in which time I had my better blend uniformity, that time will be your control strategy. That whenever I will do next time, I will take only 12 minutes of blending. I will not do 10 minutes, I will not do 15 minutes. I am getting a very good data at 12 minutes, although I am getting a good data at 15 minutes also. But I want to reduce my process, I want to make my process more efficient. I will use only 12 minutes, I will not use 15 minutes. Although you are getting the same data at 12 minutes also, you are getting the data at 15 minutes also, but you want to see, I mean, in terms of you talk about the production, you want to, minimize that time. So you will select 12 minutes. This is control strategy. And then validation means once you have done your control strategy, you have put your controls in you, then you will take 2-3 batches again on the same parameters that you have told that these are my control strategy. That we will call as validation. Means you are cross-checking it. So is this clear? I mean, the picture, I mean, what I want to say, I mean, what do you mean by QTPP, what do you mean by CQAs, CPPs, design space, although we will be learning in the next slides, but this is just to have you on the same page. I mean, just to tell you that how the things happen in QBD.